That's one of the, that's on Christmas. All that the card says is, there is no heaven.
Oh. That's the real present, the truth.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, that leads us right into this episode. Hey, we're back. It's the start of December.
Christmas.
Jeremy's ending Christmas already for everyone, for all the boys and girls and everyone out there. Christmas is terminated, according to Jeremy. But it's the start of December. We did it. We did it for everyone. We did it for those kids, I think.
Those kids can do it.
We did it. We ended Christmas for the kids, guys. You were getting out of hand.
I think just Jeremy ended it for the kid. I don't want my name associated with that, Jeremy.
Well, it's there, Paul.
Well, we're back. As always, we're a Rabbit Troop Sucks. We're a podcast about obscure, forgotten about, and often overlooked films. I am Paul. Next to me is Mike.
Hey, take off.
Hey, next to me is also
Take off, hey.
Next to me is also Collin.
You knob.
There's Lamar.
Hey.
And Jeremy.
You hoser.
And they're already gonna Canadian this up for you because we're looking at Strange Brew from 1983. And last month was November, and it was, as noted, a month of requests outside of the last month where we did last week son-in-law, and we celebrated Thanksgiving. Hopefully everyone is polished off their Thanksgiving goods at this point in time. But I said we had one more request, and this is a request that comes from listener Jim. Jim had an array of just awesome movies. If I didn't note this at the end of last episode, Jim just wrote us like a really nice email, highlighted that him and his friend love listening to or love watching movies, that one day he joked that they just wanted to retire and talk about films just like Rabbit Troop Sucks does. Just really, really nice.
We have all retired now.
Yeah, we wish, Jim. We wish we could all retire.
Yeah, right.
Help us retire, Jim. Off this.
Patreon.
Yeah. Well, we have those several Splinter OnlyFans on Mike's account, so
I'm not sharing that money with you. Unless you want to contribute.
that one with a Rabbit Troop Sucks T-shirt, I want 1% of that.
Okay.
But Jim, this is the one request we were able to get in for December. Here on out, we have some films slated. There's only 3 more weeks and movies to cover for the rest of the month, and then we're into 2025. But thanks so much, Jim, for this recommendation. We definitely wanted to get this in. Jim, your letter was awesome. I wrote you back. We'd love to send you some merchandise. Let us know, and I'll write you again. But this is Strange Brew, 1983. And if listeners, you are unaware of this crew, it's Dave Thomas, who plays Doug McKenzie, and Rick Moranis, who plays Bob McKenzie. This all started
and not
off...
the Dave Thomas that founded Wendy's crew.
No. It is that one.
Okay.
Mike is dead set on that.
Yeah.
This duo starts in 1980 on SCTV, and shout out to my home state, Illinois, and home city, Chicago, where Second City does still house comics. And I think one of the last years I was in Chicago, during the winter that is, I went to SCTV with my wife and my family. We had a great time. SCTV, part of, everything coming out of Canada, Second City in Chicago. This is where John Candy gets a start. And again, we see Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas. And they come up with this iconic duo, the McKenzie brothers. They do skits on SCTV, and I was like, I swear to God, they're on SNL, and they were. I had to look this up. They are on Saturday Night Live. They cross over like many of the SCTV characters or cast members had at some point, if not through cameos, reoccurring cast members, whatever it is. SCTV and SNL are very linked, especially around this time, the 80s. So has everyone seen these characters at least? I know not everyone saw this movie today until this point in time, but has everyone seen these characters at this point? Has anyone not?
I was aware of them.
I've never seen these characters.
I don't know that I'd seen them in anything before tonight.
Yeah, I've seen this movie before, never seen these. I'm not familiar with these characters, nor have I ever seen SCTV or any of the skits. Yeah,
okay.
I'm familiar with it, and I know it's very legendary. Just for some reason, just never crossed my path. Wow. I know there's a lot of legendary names that came out of SCTV. Obviously, Rick Moranis right here. And these characters, this is my first experience.
Is Lamar and I are the only ones who saw Jeremy, have you not seen this movie until today?
I saw this movie, and I don't know if I saw this with you or with another one of our high school friends that we had. But yeah, I've seen this movie one time back probably when I was in high school, and then never again till tonight.
Wow. Well, this is an eye-opening experience for everybody.
Yeah, it makes me wonder.
Well, actually, so then let me go through a little more backstory
Yeah.
with the McKenzie brothers. So they also have, and I'm just spitballing here. You could say I don't even have notes. I'm just going off of kind of like what I remember. They also have like a notable album. So they have a comedy album that comes out, I believe, in the early 80s. And it does extremely well. And this is kind of the riff that you see at the beginning of the movie, that they've already established themselves as this comic duo. They do skit comedy. And, you know, in the 80s and in the late 70s, like vinyl and cassette, like comedic stand-up is selling. Like Steve Martin has records out, and Richard Pryor has records out. Eddie Murphy has records out. The McKenzie brothers, they have a record out at this time. They do have a record that I read follows that for this movie and was kind of a big flop. But their first record is notable, and I know Mike has one of their songs because I gave him a vinyl record for Christmas that has one of their songs, and it's the 12 Days of Christmas, and then just like jokingly talking about it as a bunch of I don't want to say a bunch of Canadians like in some derogatory way. They use like a very stereotypical, like over stereotypical, exaggerated format of Canadian accents. Like hosers is used like every other word, stuff like that. And that's part of the 12 Days of Christmas. And I know it's on that record.
It is. That's correct.
So yeah, like, and that was like a hit song, like at that time in the 80s, just as like comedy, but I guess considered a song, nonetheless. But
It was considered a song.
I mean, it's not like fully a song.
It's not fully comedy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not the song I put on repeat, definitely from that album. Like Christmas rapping, you're like, yeah. And then
There are some bangers on that record for sure.
And then you get like spoken word,
Yeah,
like 12 Days of Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so like they're notable, like by all means. So I think this definitely fits our profile. So again, thanks, Jim, because I think, you know, in the 80s, people are like, oh my God, of course I know the McKenzie brothers. Like I've seen the one of 4 channels that exists, and I've seen them on it. And now people are like, I don't know who you're talking about. And,
Yeah.
you know, Rick Moranis is like a really interesting actor that, if listeners, you are unaware, that he basically retired from acting. His wife was diagnosed with terminal cancer, passed away. He said notably that he just wanted to raise his own kids. I think loosely he's left retirement to do some voice acting, and he did do, I think in the late 90s or early like 2020s, he reprised his role as Bob McKenzie, and they did a commercial with Dave Thomas for like a beer commercial. He's also done what's Ryan Reynolds' cell phone company, whatever
Mint.
that is.
Boost.
Yeah, like whatever that
One
is,
of
like
those.
he was in a
Mint
commercial.
Mobile, yeah.
And people were like, oh my God, like he didn't come back for Ghostbusters, but he did this. Like, so he's done some like interesting things. And was assaulted in New York like 2 years ago.
Wow.
If you guys don't
Yeah,
remember that, like he's just
I
like
remember
literally
that.
walking down the street and like someone punched him. Like not against him. It was like a complete
Like I hate
random thing.
I shot the kids.
Yeah, it was a complete random thing. Like a guy just like randomly punched him. Like what a terrible thing. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
New York, though, so.
Yeah, fun. But yeah, like, so this like really puts him on the radar a lot more. We see him in like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. We see him in a billion different movies. Like,
I mean, Spaceballs for
I
me
mean,
is
yeah,
the
Spaceballs
one.
is just fantastic. I mean, we've got to do Spaceballs at some point in time.
Yeah, I do it just to watch it.
Yeah. Parenthood. He's also in Parenthood. Really notable. Yeah. So he's retired. And we do see Dave Thomas do some stuff still. I think he does some production stuff. That's what I kind of have noted.
We've seen Rick Moranis do some kind of like cameos recently in
He did
TV shows.
He did
commercials.
just the voice in a one Goldberg's episode. He reprised his role from Spaceballs as Darth Helmet.
That was nice.
Yeah. And I think I read somewhere that it was like, they were like, there's no way he's going to do it. And they reached out. He's like, I'll do a voice work. And I was like,
Nice.
oh my God, that's awesome. It was like a really quick thing, but
Ain't good enough.
I miss Rick Moranis. I think Rick Moranis is great. I wish you would leave retirement.
Oh yeah, Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh yeah, duh.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
think that was the first thing I saw him in.
Yeah, I mean, he's just like such a good,
He's a
fun
great
actor.
guy.
I mean, Ghostbusters, damn it.
Yeah. How can you hate Rick Moranis? And whoever punched him, fuck you.
I bet that guy feels really bad.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
he didn't know what he was doing.
even in that crazy man psychosis, he's like, oh shit, was that Rick Moranis? Like, I was just going for a rando. Like,
fucked up here.
oh shit.
Some people try to make a name for themselves. There's a couple of years ago where someone like drop kicked Arnold Schwarzenegger. You guys ever see that or remember that?
No.
There's a video of this. There's someone that's straight up. He's like doing an interview at a gym and surrounded by kids, and some guy just runs up and drop kicks him in the back.
Oh my god.
He didn't phase him at all. He's Arnold
it wouldn't,
Schwarzenegger. He's
yeah.
boss as
You are not
fuck.
the last action hero.
And security just mobs this guy right away, and the video cuts off. Guys, gotta see this clip. It's pretty hilarious.
What did I mean? After the arrest, was the guy like, I beat that guy, I did it?
I've never heard
Like
from
while
him
that guy's
again.
back was turned, I did it.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can't really win.
Same as all the other fuckers who try to get famous off of punching or beating up celebrities.
I just like the Schwarzenegger videos I see where he's like buying like bulk like farmyard food.
I've
He's
seen
like,
those,
Yeah,
yeah.
he has like 2 mules that live inside
Yeah.
of his house.
he's like, I'm just buying all these like pellets and hay. I'm like, there, all right.
There you go.
Why not?
He's like, I'll be.
You haven't
filming-
lived till you have a
Film-
mule as a pet.
a film Conan next year. Bye.
wholesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Well, this movie starts off where, as kind of noted, it's kind of a riff on their own work, and they're breaking like the fourth wall every which way. Where at first it's just Bob and Doug McKenzie. Bob, again, is Rick Moranis, and Dave Thomas is Doug McKenzie. They play brothers. They're in Canada. They're using hoser a lot. They're using, I don't know, all sorts of Canadian slang. And they're talking about they're going to make a movie, but then they're going to eat some popcorn, and they're surrounded by beer. But then it quickly pans to an audience, and they're like, oh my God, we've heard these same jokes before. Like, what the hell is this? And like one guy's like, kids, we're leaving. I like that father. That guy's so taken back. He's like, saddle up, kids. We're going home. But then you see like the family's like watching in a theater the movie that Bob and Doug are in. But Bob and Doug are also in the theater watching this. It's the premiere, and it's gone wrong, and everyone hates the premiere. And now there's like this
Well, the
mass
hysteria.
riot. Yeah. And they're like, oh my God. So Bob and Doug like sneak out the back of the theater, but now there's this mass riot. The police are called. All these people are demanding money. I love this one guy. He comes up. He's like, my kids spent their allowance on this. This is all their allowance money. They saved up for this. What am I supposed to tell them? And I was like, oh man. And then Bob's like, here's some money. And Dave's like, oh my God, that's our beer money. Dad gave us this money. He's like, just take it.
How much was a movie in Canada in 1984?
I think they said it was like $5.
Five. Like,
Canadian.
can,
So
Yeah,
how
I
many
don't
loonies
agree
is
with
that?
like 4.
Okay,
So like $4.50 at this time.
that seems like a lot.
$4.
Well,
I mean, I was paying $5 to go to the movies in like the 90s.
I think
we had a
I
strong
think,
dollar
I think
back
Jeremy
then.
and I were paying like $5.50, $6.
Yeah. Sounds
yeah.
about right.
I think like the Chesterfield 4 was like $4 for like a daytime matinee.
It was also like if you we went to the grocery store and bought tickets there, it was like $1.50 off. It was like so weird. It was like
That is weird.
you would literally go to the grocery store and you'd be like, I just want a movie ticket, and they're like, here you go.
you get-
Here's a pass for like a blank movie ticket, and then you would give that pass to the movie theater, and they had to give you a ticket. And the movie theater was like across the street. I'm sorry, the grocery store was across the street, and I was like, so we'd always go there just for $1.50 off. It was
Yeah.
like a
Did you have to
1
bring
minute
in a can of
transaction.
cream corn to get that discount?
Yeah.
What? You say cream corn to me?
Pants cream corn.
Probably have to buy a can of cream corn to get it, and then you have to eat it in the theater.
That's right.
Instead of
That's the only food that you could
I don't like popcorn.
like. Is that cream corn?
Anymore.
You can go in.
It's so soupy and awful.
They do make a joke about eating some corn before you watch the movie. Oh yeah, lean back and grab some corn.
Yeah, you gotta get some corn.
So
Loser.
I didn't really understand this. So the McKenzie brothers that are in the movie are, I guess when the movie started, I thought that the characters that we were watching I thought it was like a Wayne's World thing.
Yeah.
Is that's not the case though?
No.
Okay.
I thought
They're
so
at their
too,
own
Mike.
I
premiere.
kind of felt that way too.
Yeah,
okay.
it did feel that way. But they're at their own premiere.
Because like they run away from the movie that they run away from their own movie premiere back to their house.
That's right.
Yeah.
But like, cut to the next scene, the characters that we're watching had not had a movie made about them.
Maybe, but they're not famous.
Yeah. So okay. So I feel they are kind of like Wayne's World or like Hot Rod, where they are locally known enough that they
Sure.
did a local movie.
Okay.
That when it premiered, the local community was like, "Oh shit! This
Okay.
looks like it was done with like $15."
Because that's what I thought was going on. But then as the movie progressed, no one knew who these people were.
That is
like,
correct.
Spoilers, like when they're in the courtroom at some point, you would think that someone would be like, oh no, but like these are a local celebrity kind of.
Just a
this
bunch
is
of local
never
hosers.
mentioned.
Yeah. Do you think it was the special effects on the space van that really kind of fucking made the audience turn south?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
I think it was probably the poster of the movie looked awesome, and
Yeah.
then none of it translated.
So
I was in for this movie.
Well, I think almost the fade is the beginning of the movie is like they are locally known and these people are known. But as the movie then progresses where they go to their house, that all is just kind of like in a backdrop that fades away. Like no one ever
Right.
says that ever again.
Because it is never mentioned
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it's like, it's now more like, here's their story, not as local celebrities, just like two bumbling dudes.
Right, cool. Because it played off like our movie failed and we don't have any money, so let's get a job at
Yeah.
a brewery. But like no one knew who they. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But it was weird.
It doesn't matter.
It does not.
I mean, there's a flying dog later. So.
We're only talking to like 5 other people for the rest of the movie. So for those people not to know 2 local bums doesn't seem.
I
like a
guess
huge
that's true.
stretch.
Yeah, that's fair.
And 2 of them are evil.
Yeah,
They've got other things going on.
Yeah.
a couple of them are pretty evil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maple
so-
syrup makes your memories go away too.
So Bob and Doug do escape the movie theater. And then they just go home, and their dad and mom are watching.
Their dad
TV.
is Yosemite Sam, is he not?
Is that who it is?
It wasn't it Mel Blanc that
Yes.
did the voice?
I don't know. It sounded like Yosemite Sam.
I mean, Mel Blanc did the
Yeah.
voice for like every. fucking
this was him.
cartoon.
Yeah. So the dad's like, "Oh my god!" You never see the dad turn around. He's just like, "Where's my beer? What's going on?" And they feed their dog, and they put beer in the dog bowl, and they're like, "Oh my god, we drank all the beer." And
This was fucking gross.
and they take that beer
yeah,
and they
it
put it into a
was.
glass, and they're about to give it to their dad, but the glass breaks. Dad freaks out. You guys need to get me more beer in the morning. They're like, "Oh, we need money for that." He's like, "You're gonna use the money I gave you," and that money was already spent. Because
well, didn't they give it to the kid?
yeah, Bob
They gave
gave
it
it
to the
to
kid
Bob
'cause
gave
they
it as the
felt bad.
refund.
that $15.
My kid spend my allowance.
How old are these guys supposed to be?
I mean, honestly, Mike, I think I would guess early 20s, but
I mean, it's the 80s, so you can't tell.
that's the
but,
thing. I was like, they might be in their early 20s.
Like the heiress or whatever, who was supposed to be 21, looked like she was like 40. So
Pam?
I mean, the hairstyles of the day aren't helping. Is it Pam?
Pam is way down by that, like,
The permanent that she was
oh my
carrying
god,
around,
Well, these
three
brothers are
sections
heavy
of hair
drinkers.
that she has.
and the slacks that went up to her fucking tits.
But she's later wearing a
Tit
sweater
slacks.
that I note, and I just wrote, that sweater looks so warm.
That was a cozy looking sweater for
It
sure.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
This
Well,
episode
this
brought to you
was-
by Cozy Sweaters.
I love cozy sweaters.
Rick Moranis is
We're
born.
gonna are we gonna have those
53.
up on the marketplace soon? Cozy sweaters.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw that we could get our logo on a Christmas sweater.
Okay.
Yeah. Be wearing Rabbit Troop Sucks Christmas sweaters all through the holidays.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
Ring a ding ding.
It would be
Rabbit.
nice.
Ding dong.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas song.
Oh man.
It's a rabbit song in your stocking long.
What's Gunther up to? Maybe he wants to do a song with us. No? Okay.
Nope.
Wait,
So
Rick Moranis was born when?
he was
Well-
born in 53, and
Okay.
Dave Thomas was born in 49. So they
So
were
it'd be
both
30?
30s. So
Right.
they
Yeah,
could
that makes
be
sense.
they
They
could
look
be
30s.
late 20s.
Okay.
Sure.
To where they could have had stuff going and then fucked it up, and then had stuff going, fucked it up, moved
Yeah.
back in with the parents, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. So
No,
I mean, they're living in a tiny home with their parents, so
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
That works.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, we'll get back to you on branded Rabbit Troop Sucks sweaters and all things Fair Isle that will keep you warm over the holidays.
Oh, yeah.
We don't need anything new. We have shower curtains.
Yeah, just wrap yourself up in that. Use
Yeah.
like the blanket that
true,
no one's
yeah.
fucking bought yet.
You wrap
They're
yourself
heat
up
radiating
in
shower curtains.
wrap yourself up in a shower curtain and just start running on a track. You'll
Yeah.
warm yourself up and lose
Yeah.
the weight you need,
Perfect.
just like you're trying to lose weight for a wrestling match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a picture of that and send it to us.
Yeah, if you could tag us. No.
Tag us is fine. Don't send it to us in the email. I don't want to be.
Oh yeah,
traced
no, just
back.
put it on the gram.
Yeah.
Do it for the gram.
Yeah, then we could just be like, anyone could tag us. Like we don't.
Yeah, we don't. As long as it's not like connected.
Yeah.
We're not going to repost it. Is what I'm saying. So they give the gross dog bowl beer to their. Well, no, they drop it. They drop the dog bowl beer. Dad's upset.
They got to
Is
get
this-
a case by morning.
Got to get a
Like
case
he
by
does.
morning. Is this where
He'll
Dave
make
Thomas explains his great scheme? No, he explained
Yeah.
the
No, he
mouse in the
explained that in
beer
the
in the
beginning.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
So he's got a
Yeah.
He has a
But he has
scheme
that
where
mouse in the bottle
yeah,
still.
They
You know, he
basically
kept
just-
it.
They just go apply at a job. They're just like, we're gonna go get jobs at a brewery.
Well, no, they went there to get free beer to complain about the.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
mouse
went to
get
a
free
liquor
beer.
store.
Right.
That somehow this liquor store is just a counter
It's
with
a-
like a
it's a-
conveyor
it's a
belt coming
bank.
out of the wall.
With the
and
conveyor
whatever you
belt?
want,
Yeah.
it just comes out of the wall. For
Is
you.
this really how liquor stores are in
No, I don't think.
Canada?
Maybe I don't know. It's
Like-
Canada.
Yeah.
Like a conveyor belt of sushi. You just grab it, but
Right.
You know,
it's
it makes sense.
No.
It would prevent theft.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah, you had to
Yeah.
order it before it came up, so it's kind of
Yeah.
efficient. If you know what
they
you
don't
want,
get
just
that.
go in there, ask
Right.
what you want.
Well, they
get
had
it,
like
boom.
5 things on the beer menu there. It's
Yeah.
like I want this.
I noticed there's only 5 beers premiered in this
Yeah.
movie. It's like Molson Ice and Labatt's and
I read something
Every
about
other Canadian.
about some trivia on this, and I can't. I mean, I'm being lazy and not pulling it up.
Yeah.
But they did have some kind of beer association or like affiliate,
Yeah.
and then they dropped out when they saw the mouse in the beer joke. They're like, I don't like that, and they're like, well, we'll just like make up our own beer company, and that's why you see like it's like the beer company and stuff like that. But there was like like supposed to be like a sponsor, and they're like, nah, like that joke's not super fun.
fair
You don't like
enough.
the mouse in the beer bottle joke.
Right.
No. Well, the guys at the liquor store didn't like it either because they were like, go get fucked. Talk to the bank. Talk to the manufacturer, and they're like, great, we will do. And so they go to.
Mike, when they were going there, were they going to the liquor store?
Yeah, they were.
They were indeed doing
Those
that.
hot beats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
And so they go to the brewery and immediately are met with a challenge at the gate.
Yeah.
Not even a difficult.
This is where we meet Pam. Pam is stuck in a car where there is an electronic gate surrounding the car on each side, and Bob and Doug get out. And they're like, okay, well, this is electronically charged. Like, if you get out, you're going to be electrocuted, so don't do that.
I like how Rick Moranis, like, he knows what he's talking about. He installed our stereo. He's an electrical genius.
They're basically like, we got to ram you through. She's like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. She's like, all right, let's do it. And they do that. They ram the car
Gonna
through,
ram you
and
through.
they too get through. And the gate kind of malfunctions a bit. And it seems like maybe this is some foreshadowing with Pam that maybe this was happening on purpose against Pam, and a lot of bad luck is happening against Pam. Her father just died. Her uncle just married her mother. Everything seems super weird. And now gates are trying to crash and electrocute her. Yeah, I agree with something Mike said. Like, how old is everyone here? She's supposed to, did they say she's 21 years old?
They did. Yeah.
She absolutely does not look 21. I'm not saying she looks like old and just like, you look awful, but like, there's no way anyone's like, you look
Yeah.
21.
No, yeah.
As I said, like, she has 3 sections of hair, left, right, and center. That's not helping. Like, Pam's like a pretty person and young. I would guess like late 20s, maybe early 30s. So now it's the
I think
80s.
she was like 30 when I looked it up.
yeah, so like that
You
makes
know,
sense.
after
hair
a
and
case
the
of
slacks.
Eleanor, though, she's 21.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, after wait,
Case of Eleanor.
wait, is that pre-mind control or with mind control?
Take your pick.
Nice. Little 50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little booberry, a little Count Chocula.
You don't
Yeah.
want to
Throw a little Frankenberry, a little fruit brute in there.
Do the Canadian double fist.
Is Fruit Brute the werewolf?
Yeah.
Okay.
What a brute.
God damn.
It's a delicious brunch champagne.
Fruity yummy mummy.
Solid. I like that. So yeah, it's Elsinore Brewery, Elsinore Castle, the Elsinore Clinic for the Criminally Insane.
No, that was the Canadian Institute.
All on the
for
same
insane.
campus. Okay.
Yeah, they're all right there.
And this, Elsinore Castle, this basically foreshadows to let you know that this is effectively a retelling of Hamlet.
Yes. Like daddy's out of the way.
Yeah.
There's also some like supernatural ghost things that are going to happen very soon. Uncle marries mom really quick. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I
You
should
didn't
have
know
paid
that, did
attention
you?
more in Rusty Ryan's class.
They could have not done that.
Jeremy was literally in my English class when we learned about Hamlet.
Was Rusty Ryan your teacher?
Coach Ryan was our teacher. I don't know.
Why
if
is
I
he
call him-
Rusty?
I don't know why Jeremy's saying that.
Did you guys have different
That's his
relationships
first name.
with Coach Ryan?
I don't.
Well, he was a baseball coach, so yeah.
No.
That's fair.
I see.
We also find out that someone's in charge of the place now. Since Daddy is dead, Daddy is deceased. We're going to find that out really quickly when Bob and Doug talk to the receptionist. That Brewmeister Smith, was it Max von Sydow?
Max von Sydow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ming the Merciless.
Yeah.
He is in charge, and he's doing a bunch of weird stuff with weirdo things.
I like the scene with the receptionist a lot. Because
My-
she's like, I'm not telling you anything. It's none of your goddamn business. And he's like, does this sweeten the pot? And he pulls a donut out of his pocket. And she's like,
And it does.
Okay, here we. I'll tell you
Well,
what. And it works.
In all honesty, though, you haven't lived till you have a pocket donut.
Well, there's a second pocket donut
extra
where Bob
flavor
pulls out a
that
jelly.
You can't
Yeah.
imagine.
I mean, I'll tell you anything for a jelly donut.
Well, it's donut too is a jelly. I know Mike is gonna highlight some like highs and lows for himself in this movie. But to foreshadow, well, I don't want to foreshadow. Just ask you, I guess, directly is. So if you like the receptionist, do you like Brewmaster Smith overall?
he's fine, I guess.
Him in court is my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
That scene was problematic for me, but yeah, he was okay.
Well, there's a lot of problems I have. His reactions in court are my favorite things. Like with Claude.
Well, so that's one of the problems that's one of the problems I have with the movie. Max, or whatever his name is,
Yeah.
Brewmaster Smith, he acts so smart and intelligent, and yet this fucking plan of his is the stupidest fucking thing I have ever heard of in my entire life.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, we'll get into it, but
Yeah.
essentially, he wants to drug people at an Oktoberfest so he can control them and make them do what he wants them to do.
Jeremy-
like, why?
Jeremy, to quote Tears for Fears, everybody wants to rule the world.
Yeah.
Why is he any different?
That's true.
Why do you got to be
But
that way?
I mean, I feel like there's a better way to go about doing it.
This is
than
Max
starting
Von.
at the Oktoberfest.
MV in the house.
All he knows how to do is brew, and he does it well. And there's one place where you can showcase your brewing abilities at an Oktoberfest.
Right.
So there you go.
It's because
I don't know, man. I bet that beer is not very good.
How dare you?
the crazy people drink it.
Yeah, they loved it.
Not good enough
That's
for
true,
you?
but I feel like if these guys' dad is drinking this shit, that it's got to be cheap as fuck.
What do you think?
know?
What do you think? It's not better than the 4-month-old chocolate milk or the sandwiches?
No, the 4-month-old chocolate milk. That's where you take that if you're on a trip, buddy. Yeah,
Leave him.
that's where you travel back in time.
He's on his own journey now. Well, yeah. These two fellas, the McKenzie brothers, they sweet talk the receptionist, and she's like, "I'm going to tell you everything." Uncle Claude married immediately after, and that is very suspicious. And Brewmaster Smith is a very interesting man and kind of controlling things. But I'll tell you everything and everything you want to know, because 2 donuts gets you in.
Yeah.
Well, we find out that Pamela is turning 21, which makes her the official heiress to the brewery. So she has control of it as of right now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think her father dying made her the heiress. not her age.
Well, I thought the secretary said like she turned 21, so she is.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
no, it
mentioned
was
something
both.
about
It was both. I think it was like when you turn 21, like you
Okay.
would like inherit. Like if I die, like you are now
Those
like
Canadian
the adult.
laws are different up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. Why not?
There's also this like really interesting like thread that like totally fizzles out. Like we've seen this in other movies, but each McKenzie brother is kind of infatuated with Pam a little bit. Like just a little bit, like at first. We could both tell like, oh, like she's kind of cute. This goes nowhere in the film whatsoever.
No.
And is dashed immediately by another character that
Immediately.
Well, yeah. They've weaseled their way in to talk to whoever the fuck they're talking to.
Weasel.
But
Dweezil.
The uncle.
Dweezil Zappa. Yeah.
Dunkle.
Drunkle.
Yeah, at first they're like, we're here to see the father. We have an appointment. He
The
said,
who?
oh, we're here to see this. The uncle. That's what we meant. I mean, yeah, we'll see the uncle.
Grunkle Stan.
Yeah, I love Grunkle Stan.
We all do.
Drunkle.
But you know, the thing with the mouse and the beer bottle doesn't land with them either. But they do end up with jobs somehow.
A real dipper move.
That is
they're
a different.
Laverne and Shirley now.
They are Laverne and Shirley.
Shamil, Shemazel, Hoff and Pepper Incorporated.
Well, the mouse and the beer ruse gets them the job because they're like, this never would have happened
Yeah.
if we had men.
Yeah.
watching
Real men.
beers. Yeah.
So now they're hired,
Mad
and
men.
their job is just to
Look at
literally
beer.
look at beer through these lights every day. And if you see a mouse,
And
you have to blow it.
they immediately celebrate with a dual bottle opener,
Yeah.
and they just grab a couple of frosty ones off the line.
Yeah, so they're just drinking beer while looking at beers, and then they go home that night, and their entire van is full of cases of beer. And they explain it. You hear like an overdub. You see the house, and it's like, "What's going on here? Where do these beers come from? I'm calling the police. My sons are thieves." They're like, "Dad, we got jobs." My ass, you got jobs? Like, "Dad, we actually work at the brewing company, and we could get all the beer we want." He's like, "What?" He's like, how many cases do you have? He's like, "Dad, we have a whole like van full," and you see the van parked in the front yard, and it's, you know, full of, you know, like it's open in the back, and you just see like all these cases. Like, we have cases and cases. Like, "Oh my God, my sons, my prodigal sons." I knew this. Like,
He's
honey.
a proud papa finally.
Yes.
They
Honey,
forever
wake the
stole all
kids.
the
Oh my God! The father's so proud that him and his wife, through 48 hours, drink 70 cases of beer and then just immediately start having sex in the other.
That's true.
That's,
That's,
what one
happened.
does. in
Was that a
Canada. It's
deleted
cold
scene?
up there. There's
That
not a lot
was-
to
saw
do.
it.
Mike, this was shown to us.
Was it?
All of them.
Okay, I zoned a lot of this out.
Them
But
drinking
not,
the beers.
not immediately. You see the sex thing later on.
That's what I said, like 48 hours. They
Yeah.
start going through all this, and the next time they're at home, like,
Yeah,
which might
the
be like the
cases
next
are
day,
empty and-
all the cases are empty, and
Oh,
they
the
open the
parents
door.
are fucking. I didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that mean that we did
Missionary style.
see the Mel LeBlanc, whatever his name is?
Matt LeBlanc.
That's it.
LeBron James.
We saw all three of them.
Wow. Nice.
Yes.
Wow.
No,
right.
nah,
Well.
we just saw the guy. We heard the voice. That's what it was.
Hey, Lamar. Boom shakalaka.
Boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Yeah. Now we're introduced to the lunatics.
How dare you?
The Saint Lunatics. Yeah.
Nice.
Are these the stormtrooper hockey players?
I love
Yeah.
the outfits.
Yeah.
Okay.
So something that I remember ever since being a kid is, we'll get to this soon, but we are going to talk about Stormtrooper black and white outfits. But the synthesizer that plays over this is just like etched in my memory.
Like the sick keyboard lines. And
It
they're
is so washed out with like
Ew.
bass. Yeah, just like dirty synth bass. Like as soon as
You
I
like
heard
that
it,
dirty synth.
yeah. It does.
Hit beats.
I don't even know what to say to any of it. You are correct. But yeah, it is just like so 80s, like
I like that too. I like a good description of it. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is.
like as soon as I heard him playing, I was like, oh man, like 80s flashback. Like it is so washed out.
It
like,
is. It sounds like someone's trying to play the Close Encounters theme.
Yeah.
But like not doing it well.
But there's like other scenes too. Like I know exactly the notes you're talking about, Mike.
Yeah.
But there's like notes that lead up to it. It's like
Right.
And it was like, oh my god, it's so just overwashed bass laden.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my, like it's, and that's like such like an 80s like Casio sound. I'm like, all right,
We should
Welcome
talk
back.
about the Casio keyboard that this Brewmeister's sister has
Ted?
too.
Ted is one of my
Ted.
favorite characters. I said all throughout, Ted is one of my favorites. So
Yeah.
it's very rare in a movie where like a mastermind villain, spoiler, Brewmeister Smith is that person, if you couldn't tell just by his like demeanor and his name and his real life name. Like that guy was just a villain to be made. Where all his words are like, good, yes, okay. Whereas Assistant Ted is like just on it. He's like, hey, I downloaded this. He's like, good, Ted. Can you light up the map for me? He's like, absolutely. He's like, oh, Ted, I like this. Like, Ted is the guy you want hired. Ted is working hard for the money. So
Yeah.
When's the last time we had a non-bumbling idiot?
that's
as
what I'm
a-
talking about. Like, I know it's like, this is
Yeah.
refreshing to see. I was like, Ted, that's what I'm talking about. Like all throughout, anything that Ted does maybe sloppily or wrong is not due to Ted's incompetence. It's somewhat due to
true.
Claude through the rest of the film.
He's on it.
Yeah.
And he has a cool kick-ass keyboard setup.
Yeah. Ted's running security amongst like scientific testing and mind control. And on the side, he's got a full like Casio rig computer set up where he's got this like MIDI plug-in where he's, you know, playing his Casio and it goes through an intercom, but he's also got like a computer interface and, you know, it's
He's
all
the
part of the
original
mind control.
Daft Punk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
So basically you drink this beer, it controls your mind, and then through a series of notes and patterns of notes, it will kind of tell you what to do.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. Let's dive into that a little bit.
All right.
So the plot or the scheme here is that
The plot thickens.
the plot they're gonna
Real thickle.
they're gonna make people. Well, not they're not gonna make people. People are gonna drink this beer that they're
Wrap
making
it up.
for mind control purposes. But in order to deliver controls to these people who have drank the beer, you have to play them a sick keyboard solo. So what is the plan once? How do they deliver the message to the people who have drank the beer in public?
So Mike, I actually
Monkeys with keyboards.
They're just going to have
They're let
people
loose into the
driving around
city.
with keyboards.
Yeah.
so
You teach the monkeys to play a specific song.
Okay.
They run loose in Chicago. Is that where they're at? I don't know.
they're in
wherever.
Canada.
They're in
Oh, they're in Toronto. That's
they're
right.
in Toronto based on the needle.
Yeah. And then these monkeys run loose. They're playing the keyboards, and then people like I guess they take money out of their ATM and send it via
Sure.
courier to the brewery.
So Mike, I think what's supposed to happen is there's supposed to be this small batch that is sent to Oktoberfest, and then like music will play naturally during Oktoberfest. So
Right.
they'll make sure where this specific batch is being sent, the music that they want will play.
Well,
and
right.
people
'Cause
go ape
like
shit.
the Oompa band or whatever, I think was clearly in on it.
So well, actually, Mike, I think you're bringing up a bigger concern I have, and I'm going to branch off. Like I think Mike is totally correct. Is-
Well, he is, yeah.
well, what's this? So Ted is controlling them like through Brewmeister Smith's like overseeing. Ted is like, you know, Brewmeister Smith, like I'm controlling them. So they set up these hockey teams. Like one is a all armored white team, one is an all armored black team, and they look like cool stormtroopers. And so
Cool is maybe overselling it.
I mean, it's kind of menacing.
I like 'em.
They look like Spaceballs.
Yeah, Spaceballs meets like, you know, Casey Jones.
Casey and the Sunshine Band.
So what Ted is noting is when he plays sequences and patterns that he can control, he's like, see, they'll attack if I play this, and they'll shoot if I do this. So I understand what's going on. You've got to drink this beer. It controls your mind. LaRose highlights this later. He's like, we had to drink this beer every single day, and like they controlled us, but eventually it'll wear off. But the concern I have is it seems like it's still in the testing phase. Like Ted is still like, if I do this, and they just learn this. So it seems like Oktoberfest is in like a week or two or months or whatever, like two. It seems like too short of a duration. Like it doesn't seem like this serum in this beer is actually ready.
They didn't have time to get this out of beta. Well, how did
Yeah.
he? So
Yeah.
in his experiments, all he's making them do is play hockey.
I mean, I guess
Like, how
I guess that's fine enough because they're just like moving, so it's really like.
I want to see the songwriting process.
Well, yeah,
Like,
it just really seems like
no, you don't.
I'm testing out like I can make them do this to this to this to
Right.
this. But again, like what is that really going to do? Side note, before this ever happened, we do see them go into, it's Bob, Doug, and Pam go into a side cafeteria.
With the power out.
Yeah, with a power out, and there is a ghost in a video game machine. So let's not skip over that.
Yes.
That apparently Pam has a lot of information. She's like, oh my God, my birth date is in there, and there's a lot of weird stuff. And she is working close with like her dad's right-hand man, who is named Henry. And he seems really nice. He's like almost like a weird throwaway character, but
I keep forgetting about him, but he was a charming gentleman. Yeah.
right, because like he is literally on Pam's side and everything she's trying to do. She's like, well, I'm gonna put basically Henry in charge. Like I'll still own it, but like Henry will operate it. And he's like, I could do it. And everyone else is like, how dare
she
you?
wants to fire
You meddling asshole.
fucking Brewmeister Smith.
Yeah.
He gives him 2 weeks. Like you're getting a 2-week notice. Like if I'm out of sequence or not, like that happens. But like Henry is like a very nice dude. Like there's never going to be like a twist of events. Like there's no like, oh no, he's in on it. Like he is clearly like a dutiful employee and kind of family friend, and is like, oh, I'll definitely help like my good friend's daughter out and run this company. And he's serious about it. But then he too is like, what is this information in this arcade machine? Which later comes up, but spoiler, it's a ghost.
Mm-hmm. It is a ghost.
Ghost in the machine.
Dad, it's a father ghost.
Yes. Fuck.
Ring it in.
Exactly.
Ring it in. Yeah, they get the power on in the cafeteria. They play the game, and I don't remember which brother's playing the game, but he's like, "Hey, you got the high score there, poser."
What a hoser.
What a hoser!
The knob.
Yeah,
Mike, did you like the knob jokes?
I honestly missed all of them before you got down here. We were talking about. I was like, I didn't hear any knobs.
I think there were 4 knobs.
That's
Put your
not
hand on the knob before you can hear it.
Mike demands more than 4 knobs.
And you could quote him on that.
Yeah.
Write me at rabbittroopspodcast
said it
at gmail.com.
That's an OnlyFans.
That's that 4D experience I was telling you about earlier.
Yeah, 4D.
It's like the dance of the 3 snakes, just up by one. Yeah. Yeah, dude, I don't fucking
There
know.
you go.
All right, so he
Awesome.
powers on. They see something weirds with the gaming machine.
Yeah.
Rick Moranis drinks.
He drinks the
4-month-old
gross chocolate milk.
unrefrigerated chocolate milk. He's puking everywhere.
I
don't see it.
I kind of like part of the scene, and I know kind of bouncing back because Brewmaster Smith is doing nefarious things as well.
Mm-hmm.
But when Dave Thomas, Doug McKenzie turns on the power, he's like, "See, I kind of know some stuff about electricity." All the vending machines start spewing out stuff like cigarette machines and sandwich machines, and Bob drinks this 4-month-old chocolate milk. I love that they just start looting the place, and Pam, who's like the owner now, is just laughing.
helping them?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
like, "That's great."
Yeah.
But then immediately you see like Bob is like clearly sick. He's like, "I'm sorry, I threw up on her sweater. This is awful." That's what I noted. I was like, she has such a lovely warm sweater. Brought to you by
He
Farrell.
horked on it.
Farrell Designs, Rabbit Troop Suck's favorite. Do
Who'd want to hork our clothes?
you want some hork chops?
Some Horden sauce.
I don't. I don't really know the chain of events that gets him to this point, but the brothers are now recruited to the hockey team as goalies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Sure.
And they meet LaRose.
They were short. They were short a couple goalies.
So one of the employees who's been helping them is Jean LaRose, and Bob notes this really quickly to Doug. He's like, "That's a former hockey player." He's like, "No, he's not." He's like, "Yes, he is. I own his hockey card."
His
Got his rookie cord.
Yeah, like he's like
Roll
really
off.
he's really good, but then he had basically a mental breakdown. And I like when Doug meets him. He's like, "So it is you. Like that's awesome." And Bob's like, "Can you sign this card?" Like my good friend Bob. Like he's always there for me. Or like it's like a long-winded autograph. And then Doug starts drilling him. He's like, "I heard you're good." Like until you had this mental breakdown. And you could even tell that like LaRosie's like, "I don't want to talk about any of that." And what's kind of weird is, and I'm going to spoil this, like there is like basically a bunch of mind control zombies. They're like mental patients that are coming from a ward and being experimented on. And LaRose apparently was pulled as one of them and is also being, subjected to this beer serum that's controlling their mind and then amplified with these computer and music sequences. But it doesn't really seem to be working on him as much because he's more with it. And that's never really explained. Like he's
Well,
he said it wore
that's
off.
because he is working at the brewery. He
Yeah.
is an employee of the brewery. They don't want to drug him up too much.
so yeah, he's just half drugged.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just
Okay.
Whereas the other,
I mean, he's like kind of aware of everything that's happening like all throughout this. As soon as he sees
but-
Pam, he falls in love. He's enamored with her like on the spot.
He's
so-
shy.
but there is something going on
Rosie.
with him. He's not 100%. He's a
he's not
little.
Oh yeah,
I don't
no,
wanna say
just
he's- I don't want to say he's slow, but he's not.
well, it's
there.
like-
He's a drugged mental patient.
Yeah.
the way he
There you
acts is
go.
like he's like half lobotomized.
yeah, there you go.
Like a person 5 minutes after eating a double quarter pounder.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
Hey, they pull those off the market. buddy.
Yeah. So this person had salmonella. Is that what you're saying?
Can't eat those.
Yeah. That's a shame. Well, yeah. So head brewer Max has a plan and also 2 guns.
Some trank guns.
Some trank guns. Yeah.
Trank
That's
guns,
all
yeah.
you need.
It is all you need. So it turns out the reason that they put them on the hockey team was to get them out of their clothings. So that Max and Tom, who's the other guy?
Claude,
Makes sense now.
the uncle,
Doug.
Elsinore.
Yeah, whoever. Yeah.
Claude is the uncle.
Claude, yeah. So they can dress up as the two brothers and get the daughter, whoever the fuck this chick is, get her.
They kidnap Pam.
They kidnap Pam.
So
yeah.
on all the security cameras, you only see like the back of them.
Right.
So they're walking through halls and you never see a face shot. So it looks like it's Bob and Doug walking through the halls, kidnapping Pam, driving off.
And the nice old guy, they kidnap him. too.
Henry, yes.
Henry, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they put him in some beer kegs, and then they're going to put him in a van and drive him into a river.
Yeah. So they dart the brothers as well.
Trank.
And they
No, they
wake-
don't dart the brothers.
Not Trank.
They don't.
Well, they eventually will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They eventually will,
Trank,
but
trank?
they put the beer kegs in the back of their van, and they tell the brothers like, "Hey, there's a sweet fucking party going on. We want to deliver these beer kegs."
Right. Well, the brothers
that have
wake
the
up in the
people in
van
it.
Yeah,
after
no,
being.
Mike's
Do
right.
they
They
wake
do,
up?
Yeah.
they do trank them. They're in the hockey outfits, and they find this out. Ted gets tranked by Claude because Claude's an idiot. So Ted is now going to be tranked for the next 2 hours. So Bob and
was
Doug
cool.
walk into a room, and they're like, "Oh my God, he's dead." No, I'm just kidding. He's breathing. And then they're like, "Oh my God," and they kind of start finding out a little more about these schemes, and
Yeah.
they do get tranked. They wake up. They're in the van, and they're like, "Hey guys." And Claude's
Oh, that's
like,
the scene where they take the disc.
They take
like
the disc,
floppy
yeah.
disc drive.
Because
yeah.
it's they got bootlegs.
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 So they take this like
record
5 1/4 disc,
Right.
like old school 80s like floppy disc, and then they find out a little more and they get tranked, but they don't know what this disc is, but they do have it. Bob has it, and they kind of wake up and Doug's like, "What the hell's going on?" And Claude's like, "Hey, you were napping. We got this party and we got some kegs in the back. Got to go deliver it." And they're like, "Yeah."
Yeah,
They just
totally.
think they were drunk and fell asleep in their van.
Reasonable.
So Claude's like, "I have a map. You have to go this route." Ted is back. He
Yeah.
cut the brake lines. He's like, they could basically stop twice.
Mad props to Ted.
That's what I'm saying. I love Ted.
He gets tranked by his boss. He wakes up and his boss is like, "Hey, I need you to sabotage this."
Ted
van."
is employee
and
of the
Ted's
month.
like, "Okay, that's
problem.
fine. I got it."
He's a yes man.
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah." So they got 2 stops. Like they can hit the brakes twice and then it'll stop working, and they'll just.
I think Ted has been
Crash.
promised sweet benefits. I mean, honestly,
He
this
just
guy-
likes his job.
he likes his job and
He
he's
gets the
really good
keyboard
at
player,
it.
you know.
I have to assume Brewmaster Smith's like, "Ted, like you're getting bank. Like when we rule the world, like
Yeah, stock options.
like
and
I'll be an
everything.
emperor and then you'll be a lesser god."
Well,
but-
he needs Ted to play the keyboard to control everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
We don't know
A lot of
Brewmaster
it.
Smith knows how to do it. Yeah.
No, he can't play the keyboard.
So Bob and Doug were like, "Oh my God, we forgot to feed our dog." So they're like, "We need to make a stop on the way home." And Brewmaster Smith and who's the guy with him?
Uncle Gary.
Claude, thank you. Claude, they're like, "We need to go check." So they're following him in like a limo, and Bob and Doug stop at home. They drink about 20 beers. They feed the dog 20 beers. Then they drive off. They've already stopped twice for random reasons. And then they're driving around, and then they cannot stop anymore. And now the barrels are flying out of the car. I believe Henry's falls out the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the van goes into the river. The police are after them because they're speeding, but then the police clearly see that this is a massive accident. Bob and Doug go right to the bottom of this lake or river, wherever they're
I'm
at.
guessing it's and Great Lake.
Yeah, a Great Lake.
Yeah.
Why was what's his name at that
That's
fucking
what I'm
exact
saying.
location?
He was following
with the
him.
flowers.
So not Claude.
Rosie.
LaRose is there, and he's holding flowers because he loves Pam.
Because they said it was going to be her party.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
At the end of the fucking pier.
Well, that they weren't.
They had the location.
They gave
He just
him a
knew the
map,
location. And so he's standing there, and he sees Pam fall out of this barrel as that goes into the water. He goes in after her, helps her, but by helping her, he breathes his last air to save her, and he just goes sinking to the bottom. And he
Is that what that was
Waterworld.
supposed
Yeah.
to be? Because that was dumb
yeah.
as fuck.
So he gives
it
it.
was.
He gives it all up. So to save her.
Yeah, because like he jumps in and saves
She
her.
was
and
like 3 feet from the surface.
Right, and then he just like
They
he's like,
both
I'm-
were. He could have made.
Right, he's like, I guess I'll just fucking die now, and gives up and just, like,
Yes.
sinks to the bottom.
So we're shown that he drowns and falls on top of the McKenzie van. But she's safe, and Henry is somewhat safe. He was in the barrel as well.
Yeah.
And
When the police are like, "Do you think they're in that van still?" And they're like,
Yeah, it's been-
"Yeah, like we probably
It's been
should.
10 minutes. They're dead.
Like, let's not help them at all, or even look for them." So,
well, they do send down some divers.
like ultimately,
to collect
yeah.
the corpses.
eventually, it seems like a few hours later. So Pam is a little with it, and they're like, "Oh my god, what happened?" And she starts talking a little. She's like, "Well, we're in this van,
And she gets fucking darted.
yeah, tranked again from a distance. Brewmeister Smith darts her, and she goes back out. And this police inspector is like, "Oh, she fainted.
Yeah.
Get her out of here. She fainted."
Yeah. Is that a dart in her neck? I haven't
Crack
seen
shot.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, don't
Crack
worry
shot
about
detective.
don't worry about any darts.
What's that sticking out of her arm? Fuck you.
I don't know. I mean, we're
you,
saying
buddy.
it like the police officer is involved. He is not. He's just oblivious to what's going
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
Yeah, but they take her and Henry away, and Henry's kind of banged up. They go to the hospital, but then we see a diving team go underwater, and hey, you know what? Everyone's okay. Rosie's okay. Bob and Doug are okay because they're just like drinking air out of beer bottles. So they're
Sure.
drinking.
Is that what that was?
Yeah,
None
well,
of
they're
this
drinking.
makes any sense.
None of it does.
They're drinking beer, and then the air
Yeah.
that comes out of it, they're sharing. So it's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. Although I will
That's
admit,
carbon dioxide.
It's like
Yeah,
that's fucking what
it's
they're-
like in Pirates of the Caribbean where they go underwater with a raft, but they're
Yeah.
still underwater, and somehow they have air, and
well, that's
it's not underwater.
You can do that. That's real.
Yeah, just like deep down like that.
Well, probably
Yeah.
not that deep.
Waterworld.
Yeah, like in Waterworld. Then there's like a
Yeah,
penis
they're little beer
snorkel.
bells.
Yeah.
He's doing
Double
the thing.
fist those beer bells.
Yeah, exactly. I will admit I did like this scene when the diver like he sees them in the van alive and he knocks on the window
Yeah.
like he's pulling
I
them
love
over.
that.
Gives them the license.
And Dave Thomas is like, yeah, he rolls down the window and gives him his driver's license. I thought that was a pretty.
That
good
was
gag.
hilarious. I like
That was
Yeah.
that was hilarious.
But I mean, they so they're rescued, but also now under arrest because they believe that they kidnapped girl and old man.
I can't remember when this happens. Like I have sporadic notes. I know it's kind of weird in this movie. This movie's about an hour and a half, but there is like a point in time, like roughly we passed it. There's an intermission.
It's right
like-
here. I was
is-
going to
is
mention it.
Okay,
Yeah,
just
I was going
intermission.
to mention that.
Yeah, when
What
they're
do you guys
loading
think of
up
that?
what's his name into the ambulance.
I think
Yeah.
it's before the divers go in, but it's right when Rosie dies. That's
Okay,
when-
that's
when they
right.
cut
Yeah,
the intermission.
yeah.
A hard intermission cut, listeners. It's like
Yeah.
the movie cuts and it says
It's-
intermission.
yeah.
Just for a brief second. Enough time for you to actually do an intermission if you want it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to say maybe halfway directly into the movie.
It's definitely, I feel past half because I feel now like my notes, like there's only a few direct things that are left in this film.
Yeah,
That's true.
I think it was about an hour into the film when that intermission.
So right now, like the McKenzie brothers go to an asylum, and no, sorry, there's a courtroom scene. Sorry, I'm gonna skip this. I almost.
Well, no, there's a dinner first. Aren't they? Yeah, Finding Guys Breathing Beer sounds like you just picked it. Oh, I don't know. Never mind. Because there's like a dinner where the detective comes over and he's like, "Oh, she's comatose because she's still like drugged out on the fucking whatever tranks they give her," and that's where he's like, "Oh, this is what she's suffering from." And the detective's like, "Oh, that sounds like a dictionary definition."
like,
And he's
you
like,
just
"Well, I have
made
a
that up."
photographic memory."
I noted that
like
Claude
the
says,
uncle fucks everything up.
Yeah, Claude,
Fucks it all
Claude
up.
says he has a photographic memory. I was like, why would you lie about that? Like that could be disproven within like minutes.
Right.
Like
And-
that is like the
and
worst
It
it's
lie.
done.
immediately fucking negates himself on that.
Yeah. Nice statue. Who made it? I don't know. I don't
Right,
know.
yeah. But then, like, we do have a courtroom scene, and it's like, oh my god, these guys are mentally incompetent. But now I'm going to put you under the rule of Brewmeister Smith. Smith because he's also got a degree in psychology.
So okay, I also have questions about this.
Mike, what's wrong?
Is Brewmeister Smith also a psychology doctor, or was he pretending
he's the head
to be
of
a
the
different
Canadian
people?
Institute for the Mentally Insane.
Okay, so he's both. Why was he dressed like Colonel Sanders?
That's what
Is that what
short on
evil
hours.
doctors wear?
That's what you do in
Canadian
Canada.
Okay.
doctors look like that. Yeah.
You have a shot of maple syrup and you dress like Colonel Sanders.
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't.
but-
Shoot up. Maple
Sorry,
syrup.
I noted I love Brewmaster Smith in the courtroom because Claude is such a bumbling idiot that he's telling all this shit to the judge, and then it pans over to Brewmaster Smith and he's kind of hiding half his face, like, oh my god, this GD idiot, and what are you doing? But basically that's the ruling of the court. You're going away to this asylum. Now, once we're here, there's only a few direct things. Bob and Doug are in a mental institution. Pam is being basically drugged and under the care of Claude because that's her uncle, but that's being overseen by Brewmaster Smith. And basically, go for it.
Can we stop? So in the court, am I nuts, or did they? So Doug got a bloody nose, and did they stop the bloody nose by putting bullets into his nose?
Yes. There's a couple things here that I'd like to talk about.
This is a Rabbit Troop Sucks Rewind.
Yeah.
They go,
First off, I would like to talk about their court-appointed lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
Because
We glossed
he
over that.
was the best part of this movie for me. I don't.
Oh my God,
That's how you deal with the press.
Let's talk about them in press.
So
I think you think the movie's off the rails?
yeah.
It goes completely off the rails when a lawyer comes.
Yeah, they're
Oh my
walking
God.
up to the courthouse and a bunch of reporters swarm them, and this guy just whips out some fucking kung fu.
he knocks people over rails.
and beats the shit out of everybody. One female reporter also knows karate, apparently, and they get into a little tussle.
but he bests her too.
He kicks her ass too. This is the only time this is addressed.
He's like, that's how you handle the press.
Yeah, I
And they're like,
love this
yeah,
scene.
they're like, make
Oh
sure
my
to pay
God.
that, make sure to pay that guy in time.
And yes, so the Dave Thomas brother gets a bloody nose in the courtroom.
Yeah, they stop with bullets.
And the only fucking reason they did this was so that they could do this stupid bullet gag. And they give him a tissue, and he's like, no, I need more tissue. And the next scene, he has 3 rolls of toilet paper stuffed on his face. And the bailiff is like, I'll just give him bullets from my gun to jam in his nose.
The clerk asked for the
Yeah,
bullets.
right.
The clerk thought that was
The
a good
clerk,
idea.
yeah. And the minute they did this, is there's going to be a stupid fucking bullet shooting out of his nose scene. And of course there was.
But now we're at
The insane asylum. Take off. Steamroller.
Yeah. So basically, what happens is Rosie sneaks in and starts setting him free. Ted is conducting some side experiments, and LaRosie's like, "We got to get out of here." And they knock Ted. They later say Ted might be dead. I don't think ever see Ted again. LaRosie knocks him in a room, and I just assume he's knocked out there. But Brewmaster Smith, I do believe, says later, he's like, "I think he's dead."
You say that, and now that I think about it, you might be right.
I
never seen him again.
Ted, I love
Sorry,
you.
Ted.
Employee
Wow,
of
he
the-
just
employee of
left
the
like
month.
that.
Real,
But yeah,
you know,
Ted's done. He's not in the movie anymore.
Ted is the Simpsons version of Grimy.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
He did a good job, and now he's gone.
Yeah. So now we got to stop Brewmaster Smith. He's going to drug up everybody, and they just can't have that.
Yeah.
Well, and the brothers the brothers and Rosie recruit the fucking lunatics.
Yeah,
to,
all the hockey lunatics.
Yeah, they're gonna help out.
Yeah, and they basically manipulate the sounds. Once they've got the
I
sequence
like how
down.
Right.
they manipulate the sounds. It's just Doug leaning out of a forklift going, "Oh, oh."
What's the problem?
Yeah. Well,
A tone's a tone. You
problem.
don't need the Castio to go, oh.
that's true, yeah. But before that, they do the brothers split up. The Rick Moranis
For the first
one,
time in their life.
they've never been apart.
Yeah, so Rick Moranis is Bob. Bob goes with Pam.
Yeah.
And Rosie goes with Doug.
And Dr. Master Brewer Max whatever
Smith.
Sydow.
He traps them in a beer vat.
Yeah, so Smith and Claude capture Pam and Bob and put them in a beer vat, and they're like,
Yeah,
that's it, and
he
they turn it on.
stuffs them.
Yeah, they turn it on. They're like, we're gonna drown you, and that's it.
Yeah.
But Doug and Rosie, they go after Brewmeister Smith pretty successfully. Everyone from the asylum packages up Claude and they put him on a conveyor belt and they send him on his way. They tape him up. Yeah. They put him in a box. We'll see him in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Brewmeister Smith fights off against Rosie, and Rosie basically throws him against a wall, and Brewmeister Smith gets electrocuted.
After several people die.
Yeah, Brewmeister Smith is a fucking scrapper.
I don't.
He was crushing heads.
This is kind of funny. I've seen this movie since, but I always remember this when I see the movie and I forget about it. Brewmeister Smith has like a superpower, and it's only established in the last like 20 minutes of the movie, where he's like, I could crush skulls. So he like basically like leans in, kind of tilts a man's head, and like palm crushes it together. And I remember this as a kid, and I remember even as a kid being like, this is terrifying for me. Like, oh my God.
Like he's recycling beer cans.
Yeah, and you hear it too.
That's like the Foley effect as well.
And you hear it, it's like crush. And you're like, oh my God. And so, yeah, he takes out a couple dudes, but Rosie does get him electrocuted, and Brewmeister Smith is done. Note the beer is still brewed and being shipped off, but Smith is done.
Yeah.
And the ghost helps a little bit too.
Yeah, and then
then
there's the recurring moment where then we see the unleashing of a ghost, and is like, you know, Jeremy,
I am your father.
It was Ghost Dad.
You remember me from the beginning? I'm your brother. It's me, bro.
Hey, bro.
There is no heaven.
Hey, buddy.
Take
No
this,
heaven, buddy.
Hey, Jeremy,
Nice callback.
take this future cassette.
Here we go.
No heaven, you poser.
It's me, Dr. Scorpius. Take this future cassette. Well, yeah, and then Daddy's released, and it's like, Daddy, you were always there. He's like, yes. Because there is like some supernatural stuff, like gates are opening and things are happening, and I don't want to get too much into it, but like there's this presence of things that are happening, but that's it. So we're now at this like end of this movie. You're like, oh my God, like the big bad is dead, but they're like, we've got to stop the beer shipments. Beer is flowing into Bob and Pam. So there's like two things. So starting with Bob and Pam, they do get to them quickly. And they're like, oh my God, this, vat is going to explode. Rosie opens it up and they're like, oh my God, nothing's coming out. It's because Bob drank all the beer. Bob is now 50 times the size of a human being because he drank all the beer.
He's like Susie Blueberry.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka.
From Wonka?
Yeah. Violet, you're turning violet.
Violet. Thank you.
Violet, you're turning violet.
Have some gum, bitch.
So he's like, I really got a wee. And they're like, hold up, bro. And he was like, okay. So he burps his way out of there. Pam's free. Then there's a fire across the building. They're like, we've got this wacky idea. So he pisses out a fire.
Yeah. So successfully that the fire department offers him a job on the spot.
He's like, he goes, can my brother join me? And the fire chief just puts his hand around him and goes, there was no answer. Yeah. Now they've got to stop this beer shipment. And they do. Their dog was like Hosehead.
Hosehead, yeah.
This is my favorite part of the movie
Where
because it was so fucking unexpected.
Where Hosehead turns into Superdog?
Well, they paint him like a skunk, and he just
they show him on a map.
Yeah. Well, they're like,
he looks like a badger more than a skunk.
Beer and
he did look like a badger.
Well, everyone's alarmed.
He flies away.
Yeah, everyone's alarmed. They're like, oh my God, like all these people at Oktoberfest are going to drink this beer, and they're going to be like under this like spell. We've got to stop it. So is it Hosehead? Hosehead is their dog. They paint him like a skunk, and they're like, we have this idea. And he turns into a flying dog, shows up at the party.
With a cape. With a cape, Paul.
Well, he loses the cape.
That's true. And I like how the dog looks at him.
Yeah, he looks like, whatever, fuck that cape.
The dog arrives. Everyone thinks a giant skunk appears. Everyone runs and doesn't drink the beer, doesn't hear the sound sequences. Everyone's like, police chief, fire chief, I don't know. Everyone's like, great job, everyone. Rosie is now officially with Pam. It's like, I'll see you. Everyone's happy. And that's pretty much the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm. No, they get the truck at the end because they won the arm wrestling.
Oh, yeah. At the very end of the movie, much like Over the Top, as Jeremy is noting, they're like, all this like this weird mind control beer, like it's all on this like big rig. we got to get rid of it. And Pam's like, can you drive a truck? He's like,
Yeah.
But they're all like,
fine.
they're clearly going to drink it, even though they have access to non-tainted.
Well, he asked. He's like, "Hey, will this is it okay to drink this still?" He's like, "Yeah, it'll eventually wear off the drugs."
I guess if no one's giving you commands.
Yeah, as long as no one's
Let's
playing
go.
a keyboard nearby.
Just don't watch
Everyone's
movies.
dead.
Yeah.
Don't break the fourth wall and watch a movie of yourself watching a movie.
Or don't play Casios while you're drinking this beer.
Yeah, and so they drive off, and then the actual end of the movie is we're back to the Bob and Doug movie that we saw from the beginning, and they're still kind of giving commentary on various things. But that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And before we give you our final review, as always, feel free to reach out to us at rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com. If you want any of those isolated sound clips like you heard today from Mike, reach out to me. Be like, hey, Paul, yeah, you know what I want. I'll be like, I do, free of charge. First one's free, little man.
You ain't gonna charge them?
First one's always free.
All right.
But if you have movie ideas, suggestions, just want to get in touch with us, like Jim did for this movie, feel free to do so. Also, reach out to us at rabbittroopsucks.com proper. That is our website. We have links to, merchandise. We have links to pictures of us. We have links to our episodes and various other things. Also, we're on every social media platform. Well, that's not true. We are on some social media. We are on every podcast platform. Social media, we're on Instagram and Facebook. Every podcast platform, if you're on Spotify, Amazon, if you are on just the podcast app like I use on my iPhone, or if you're anywhere like YouTube or wherever, or you want to switch platforms, you can do that. As always, feel free to give us a 5 out of 5 star rating for this ad-free, free of charge podcast. What did everyone think of Strange Brew 1983? Jeremy, I'm going to start with you.
So, this movie is ridiculous in so many ways. I think it's fun to talk about. I mean, this is a typical, like, only Canada can take murder, beer, God knows, lunatics, like an insane asylum, and condense it down into a family-friendly movie. Like, good for you, Canada. Other than that, that's all I really have to say about this movie. Like, I can't say that I liked it, but I also can't say that I disliked it. But it was ridiculous.
Before I jump to Collin on this, I do want to note it's very rare that I ever really have a drink on one of these podcasts. But I did have like a couple beers. Everyone brought, like, my refrigerator is filled with beer now. And Mike and Lamar, I was dipping into some of your beers. I almost never drink, but I was like, you know what? This is a whole movie about beer. And because of that, I'm so sorry. Let me open with Canada's most famous hosers, Bob and Doug McKenzie, get jobs at the Elsinore Brewery, only to learn that something is rotten with the state of it. Allusions to Hamlet, as noted. And yeah, that was the summary I forgot to give you. I just gave you a huge backdrop of just the McKenzie brothers SCTV.
Wait, did that specifically say it has allusions to Hamlet?
I said it has allusions to Hamlet, but like something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
Yeah,
lots of Hamlet.
This movie's basically Hamlet.
Yeah.
This basically is not fucking Hamlet. There's a dead dad, and that's about as Hamlet as it gets.
There was a thought of it being Hamlet.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that leads us to you. That leads us to you, Collin.
Yeah.
Now that you know the summary of the movie.
Before anyone mentioned Hamlet, I loved this movie, and now people are like, "Oh, it's fucking Hamlet," and now it's gonna be like, "There's no fucking Hamlet." There's
Collin,
a
you're
dead
gonna learn
dad,
something
and
no
that's
matter
it.
what.
Yeah.
And Elsinore Castle.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Ophelia comes back to life, unlike Hamlet. The McKenzie brothers are like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Yeah.
So I feel it's like this. It is Hamlet devoid of the character Hamlet. Like, no one is actually playing Hamlet.
What? No, but Hamlet is Hamlet.
Hamlet.
Oh my God, Pam is like an afterthought of this whole film.
Do you know why? Because none of this is fucking Hamlet.
This whole movie.
We've triggered Collin.
Yeah, Collin, this whole movie's Hamlet.
No.
But like no one's playing the lead character. But everything else is happening throughout this film.
Forget all that. This movie is just really silly, and it's really fun.
Good, I'm glad you liked it.
I like this a lot. Probably too much compared to how much you guys hate it. Now I have to go back and really think about it.
I don't hate it.
Well,
I
yeah,
said I can't like it, but I can't dislike it.
I just had fun the whole
That's a cop-out.
Like, there's this
That's a
just
cop-out,
so silly that I found myself kind of giggling throughout
Oh,
the
I
whole
giggled many times throughout this. Oh, when that dog took off. I mean, I probably laughed.
Jeremy
for a
broke.
good I had to pause the movie because I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Jeremy's more on the positive side. Collin, you're liking it.
all in.
Lamar, what do you think? Strange Brew. You've seen it. I think I've seen this with Lamar at some point.
Yeah, we were really tired and drunk that night. But yeah, we did see it. And I like it. I liked it just a little. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it.
Not too much.
Just a little bit.
Just right.
I thought it was delightful. It's a specific type of humor that I can't compare it to anything else. And it might go to the SCTV that we were talking about. Like I said, I'd never seen it before. I got a feeling like SCTV might be this type of humor. If that's the case, I got to go check it out. But I thought it was delightful. It was silly. It was amusing. And like you said, Jeremy, those parts when the dog took off. There's other moments when the lawyer beat the shit out of the...
Like, you're not even expecting. You're just like, what?
Yeah, that lawyer just takes those people on. That's how you deal with the press, Jeremy. He told you.
I like this movie.
Yeah.
It feels like this is the movie that when all the SNL characters created movies, like there's the Wayne's World movie, it's Pat movie, there's Coneheads movie. I feel like this is the SCTV movie, and it came before all of those movies. Yeah. It set it up. And this is kind of like the blueprint of not really what you're supposed to do with those movies, but they did a good job with it. I liked it. Thank you for your request, Jim. I appreciate this movie.
Yeah.
Who's next on this list? Is it Mike?
Throwing Mike in.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. So I'm gonna differ here a little bit.
Hey, leave Jim alone.
I did not like this movie. I'd never seen it before. I mean, I know I talked about moments that I liked, and there were moments that I liked. They were all kind of throwaways. Like, I think all of the funny lines were said by like background characters, sometimes that you didn't even see. Like, there was an exchange between the police chief and a random cop about Japanese cars I thought was kind of funny. Like, every time I giggled, it was not because of the main characters.
Dude, I loved when Ted walked in, when they were in the padded room, like wrestling around with each other. He walks in, he's like, "Hi, my name's Ted. I'm happy to be working with you." Right. Like, just like, that's it.
Like,
like, this is the guy that we put asleep. Like, we saw him in the room. Why is he doing here?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Like, the McKenzie brothers as characters did not do it for me. I mean, if that's like the kind of humor that works for you, great. I don't think this movie is objectively bad, but it felt like I was watching this movie for 5 hours. This movie just dragged for me.
Was there any part of the McKenzie brothers that you like?
Absolutely
was it overpowering?
Dude,
It's just a little
so
bit.
So much stuff into this movie. It's crazy how much stuff happens in this movie.
There's a lot of stuff that happens, but every time the two of them are talking, I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, let it end. It just like that. The humor of those two does not land for me. I mean, clearly it did for others in this room, and that's fine. Like, again, like, I thought a lot of the ancillary characters and situations were absurd and kind of fun to watch, but like the main driving force of this movie was a huge bummer for me.
That's
there you go.
Understandable.
Take it.
Yeah.
I think I need to lead in with a shout out to Lamar as I'm going to preface this, and I think this is the beer talking. And Mike, I understand, but the handoff is going to be to me. Lamar, this is for you. It's finally my turn to rock the mic because my devastating beats. Lamar, I know you will like. See, my beatbox is fresh, and it will blow your mind. And if you don't like my beats, I'll go big and you're behind.
Wow.
That's supersonic.
So what I understand is if you don't agree with Paul's
did not see that coming.
No.
He's gonna go big.
Lamar, that was for you.
Paul's gonna ass fuck you if you don't agree with him, is what I heard.
Yeah.
And that's the noise he's gonna make.
Yeah.
All I heard is that if we disagree with him, he's gonna go.
That's
big
what a
and
case
Lamar's
of
gonna-
Oh, okay. We're in the clear.
Lamar, do you know the group?
Oh God. Supersonic. Let me.
JJ Fad.
Oh shit! Damn, nice. I wouldn't have gotten that.
Yeah, so if you don't like my beats, I go big and you're behind. Well, I'm done with this movie. I actually totally understand what Mike is saying, and I think Mike's biggest holdup is, and I don't mean this as like Mike is wrong in this, is if you didn't watch this movie in the 80s and were like really like didn't kind of see these characters and you just saw them now, it really kind of fits the mantra of what Rabbit Troop Sucks is. But I completely understand why Mike is like, I don't know what's going on here. And the semblance of humor, like I could pinpoint when Mike is going to like something in this film. I can't say that always. Like, I'm not like, I know everything Mike's going to say and think and blah, blah, blah. Like, that is not my reference there. I even noted like there's a couple like jokes and Mike's like, I didn't hear him in this movie. That I was like, I knew some things that were going to land. But right before we watched this movie, I was like, Mike, this is like a really weird movie. And it is like or dislike it. Like, Mike, would you not agree that this is just like a weird film?
It is a very weird film. I guess if you would replace the McKenzie brothers with literally anyone else,
Wayne and Garth,
yeah, I probably would have been all in. Like, I just hated everything about those two.
Remake this movie with a couple of the guys from that Letterkenny.
Oh, Letterkenny's great.
Yeah, replace Bob and what's his name
Doug.
with a couple of those guys. Remake this movie.
A couple of the goth kids.
Or it's just Derry and Squirrely Bob or whatever.
Right, yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
There you go.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with this movie, and I totally understand why this would be polarizing. Like if you didn't grow up or like have like a note of who these characters were, and like I feel the jokes are somewhat dated. But like looking back, like I'm looking at a nostalgic lens and Mike is not. So I'm like, I'm trying to look at this through Mike's view. I'm like, this is the first time I've seen it. I totally understand why Mike's like, the lawyer's super funny. This guy's beating some ass. And there's some other things that are like funny. But these are like situational things in the movie. So the movie as a whole is like really disjointed. And I am like liking it. And I'm very honest with this. I am liking this movie because of nostalgic purposes, but if I watched this movie for the first time, there would be a huge disconnect. If I were in my mid-20s and younger and just saw this movie, I do not think I would like this movie overall. I'd be like, wow, I'm drunk, high, or some kind of combination, and this is like a movie I'm mocking. And I'm.
Do you think if you play the right tones that? Might like this movie.
Yeah, you play that, everyone's going to be totally on board. So I mean, I think if someone watched this movie as like an 80s, like I want to learn about an 80s movie, this isn't going to go well for you. Unless you're like honestly like into like SNL and SCTV humor of the 80s. Like if this is like your first like approach to it, I think this is not going to go well. I totally understand what Mike is saying. My only disagreement again is like I grew up watching this movie. It was one of the movies that was just like always on cable, so I was like whatever. So I do like it, but again, I don't think I would recommend this movie unless you really knew these characters or.
Yeah, if you've never seen this movie, for the love of God, do not watch it.
Yeah, and so the Rami note would be like, and if you do, watch it as a group.
Yeah, but also Rami, don't.
What do you guys say? I know what you're going to say about this, Mike. I think these characters are kind of overpowering in a movie format.
This is so awful.
What if you guys just watched this a 5-minute skit? Would you like these characters then, like in a SCTV skit, or just maybe 10 minutes? Because I feel like a movie is too much.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of think the movie I thought it was silly and fun despite them.
Collin liked it, which was weird for me.
But it wasn't. I guess I just am more tolerant of them because like they didn't really just didn't really take out as much, but they weren't the main part that made it.
No,
I was gonna, so Collin, this is what I was just gonna ask you. So like, since Mike and you have not seen it, that was kind of a note as I was like watching this. I just tried to become like a little more hyper aware of like everyone's first viewings of this. I am like surprised on almost how little they are in it. Like they're almost like like they become like the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern at moments of like, whoa, way background, not like forefront. Like other people are doing way more important shit and doing stuff. And they're just like, sometimes like, play this game.
Yeah, they're totally inconsequential to the plot. Like they don't know anything.
Yeah, they're like the observers.
Yeah.
So they're Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. We still don't really have a Hamlet. You could argue that Pam is Hamlet, but oh my god, like Pam is such an afterthought of this movie.
It's because this isn't Hamlet.
Pamlet, yeah,
it is Pamela, yeah.
But like everyone else kind of makes everything kind of happen. They're just kind of there. I think the main things I liked about it weren't them.
Oh yeah. All the good things in this movie were not them.
But you know what? It's crazy. I mean, everyone just listening, like or dislike this film. We only have 3 more episodes for 2024. So we're winding down. So we're going to jump into a holiday film. We don't do all of December like we do October of just holiday films. I think we'd burn out pretty quickly. So Jim, thanks again for this recommendation. Even though like everyone doesn't like always agree or disagree, I love talking about films. This was not a throwaway film. Like I think this is a movie like worthy of discussion, especially because we have notable comedians, we have notable like crew members working on this.
Oh,
like,
we've seen Dave Thomas before.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I can't remember the last thing we saw him in.
Moving. He was the
That's right.
he was the boss in the new city in Moving.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's
Good
true.
call. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, like,
Also the founder of Wendy's.
Correct. Yeah.
damn it.
Yeah. This,
So, yeah.
this movie's about actually just Wendy's. It's not him.
Yeah,
But yeah.
this is how Wendy's got started.
Again, thanks, Jim. Like, this is a good recommendation because I really feel this is like a time bubble of a movie and comedians with very notable people that I think is gonna polarize viewers, good and bad. I mean, it's a worthy of discussion by all means. But yeah, we're gonna jump into a holiday film next week. We're gonna go at 2005, Santa's Sleigh, and then after Santa's Sleigh, we only have 2 other movies, and I'm gonna give you a spoiler. We've kind of alluded to what the movie after Santa's Sleigh is going to be. And if you've listened, there's a thread, but we'll tell you. But yeah, Santa's Sleigh 2025, or 2005, not 25, 2005.
It's a movie from the future.
Yeah, well,
Future movie.
I keep thinking because I'm like, wow, we only have a few movies
I mean,
left.
we're
of this
close to 2025.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, thanks, Jim. I really appreciate you writing us. That was a really heartfelt letter or series of letters. Yeah, just get back to us. I'd love to send you some merchandise. Yeah, I'm just gonna end it like that. Yeah, and feel free.
I think
to
the next time you read a letter from one of our listeners, you should read it in the voice of Paul Harvey from NPR.
I was gonna do Casey Kasem like in Ping Pong Summer, like, and then
there
the
you go.
parents react like, "What's going on?" But yeah, as always, Rabbit Troop sucks.
Rabbit Troop sucks.
Take off.
Sucks,
Take
buddy.
off.
Steamroller.
Take off, you fucking hoser.
Rabbit Troop sucks, Hosa.
Eat a knob. That's fucking New
And
England.
no one said it.
Yeah, you said, are you going to Dunkin' after this, bud?
Eat a knob.
Eat a knob.
That's not what your country could do for you, but eat a knob.